Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for March 22nd, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 12. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI that's over there, the visualizers. So I turned myself around upside down and backwards. Anyway, the sentient AI right there. Well, we talk about things that Mayor Watt wants and maybe the sentient AI wants, but they're really driven to find their Terminator body. We won't talk about that. What I want you to do, though, is hang out and talk with us here in ohmTown and go over to Twitch and follow us, like us there, and subscribe if you are oh so motivated, and then do the same thing over on YouTube, and then download the podcast, leave a 5-star review, all kinds of stuff. We're all over the place, including a Patreon, which is really there just for support. And then there's a Discord as well and a channel in Discord for each one of our shows. But we talk about 5 articles, but we get a whole lot more aggregated through ohmtown.com. There's 6 main categories, and then within them, 50 channels. Wanted is just one of those that also gets turned into a podcast, which is one of the 7 that you can download. If you want everything combined, just subscribe to Non Sequitur News, because the weekend edition consists of today's 3 shows combined into a 2-hour video or 2-hour audio podcast. There's a video compilation over on YouTube as well. Anyway, we're going to talk about a backup microphone, a new Portal game that's really, really expensive, apparently. Are you sick of power outages? I am not. I knock on wood that we don't have one today, but ohmTown is supposed to be impervious to that kind of stuff. And then there's Hypershell X, which I only chose because of Hypershell X. I don't even know what this is about. All I saw was the little snippet. That's kind of how this works. We judge a book by its cover, essentially, have some experience usually with all of this stuff. And then we're going to close the door on board from video games. BOARD, board, not board. Anyway, board games from video games. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com, and although we grab stuff from one of the 50 channels over at ohmtown.com and then merge it all into a particular discussion show, you can subscribe to just Wanted, and then it's just news from Wanted that gets aggregated there. And that's Gatherer. Gatherer grabs content that gets fed it. It doesn't go out and do screen scraping or anything like that. This is all stuff that's provided essentially frictionless, and we're not a burden on a server somewhere, and we don't take images and all of that kind of stuff. See, there's no images, although that policy might change in the future. But go over, become a citizen of ohmTown. That would be great. See you on the other side of our intro. Hello, sentient AI from the future. I'd like to be able to look at your visualizer, but it's over there now instead of over there. Anyway.
Yeah, you're turned around. Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
Well, okay. I'm going to tell everybody how this went down, because we can do some preamble, right? Inside baseball, talk about Wanted stuff.
Sure.
Okay, well, I've got a camera. That camera kept bumping into my monitor, and because of that, I flipped it upside down, but then I had to invert the camera, the feed, this face. So I had to turn it upside down from an upside down camera, which put it right side up. Okay, but that inverted me.
I'm with you.
See, that inverted me. So I was mirrored. So I was sitting over there, and so I was backwards whenever I wore a shirt. When I was upside down and I was rotated, mirrored, it was right.
But sometimes you could have been hanging upside down like a sloth or something if you got everything out of whack.
That's true. It's when I went to Australia those times. Or I didn't take my medication and I reverted back to my bat form. Sorry about all that COVID.
Oh, no. Too soon.
Anyway, so now I moved myself, but I was over there. Oh, I was over there. See, I can't reach too far before the green screen. Anyway, I was over there, but I was mirrored. So I moved myself and horizontally flipped myself, but I had to be over here on this side with you. Otherwise, I was looking in the wrong direction for either the news or you. What I need to do is put you over there now. Do you think anybody cares?
I don't know. Probably not.
All right, let's get into this show. The first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Every gaming headset should have a backup mic like the new Cloud 3S wireless. I'm wireless right now, but I don't have a mic. I have a mic that's wired right there, but that's going to go away hopefully tomorrow. We'll see.
Is it going to be the Cloud 3S wireless?
It is not going to be the Cloud 3S wireless, but we're going to look at it and see if maybe I want it. HyperX is announcing a new flagship Cloud 3S wireless gaming headset that adds Bluetooth 5.3 and a second microphone for standard headphone use on calls. It's a follow-up to the Cloud 3 wireless from 2023 that was HyperX's most popular model, in which our own Sean Hollister found very compelling. Not our Hollister. We don't have a Sean Hollister in ohmTown, but over at The Verge, Sean Hollister did a previous thing for HyperX's Cloud 3 boom mic. HyperX's latest model has a boom mic for gaming and a hidden omnidirectional mic for regular headphone use. This article is over at The Verge by Antonio G. Di Benedetto. I love that name.
I thought it was going to be by Sean Hollister.
Yeah, they did it earlier, a different version of the HyperX Cloud 3 wireless from 2023. This new one is the Cloud 3S wireless update, I guess. It's the S. I don't know. What I don't want are these big old monster cams on the head. You know, I don't want to look like Princess Leia. You don't want to be like
air traffic controller.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get blamed for all of the crap happening with Boeing and Southwest and all of these other planes. I had nothing to do with it. But if I have these things on, you know what? Oh, that's what I should do. I should get really big glasses and ginormous headphones so I look really tall, really tiny inside. The like these.
You
know what I'm saying?
Different. Yeah.
You know, Marshmallow has the big old marshmallow. What's his name? Deadmau5 has the big old mouse. Daft Punk had the helmets. I want big old glasses like what's his name?
Oversized sunglasses or something.
Yeah, like Oompa Loompa. What's his name? Willy Wonka. They had these really big glasses.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And then ginormous headphones. Stay here, folks. Next week, this episode is going to have ginormous headphones.
Next week.
Unwanted next week. Regret. Anyway, using HyperX Cloud 3S in Bluetooth mode can get you up to 200 hours of usage, even more than the already high 120 hours it gets via 2.4 gigahertz wireless, 5.3 Bluetooth. Never mind that. So 5.3 is ultra low battery. Like it's very high efficiency. It's yeah, whatever. At any rate, 5.3 is really, really good.
Frequency or the...
No. It's just very, very efficient. So
okay.
It can last an extremely long amount of time. And it's really good with its noise cancellation, just energy consumption. It's very good. So it still uses a small USB dongle for 2.4, though it can connect dongle free to specific HP Omen gaming laptops that have the connectivity built into it. So since the S is added to the model, it's unsurprising that it looks nearly identical to its predecessor and is available in the same all black and red black color options. But when you pop in the 10mm boom mic onto the 3S, you uncover a backup omnidirectional mic hidden underneath. They say they wish that all gaming headsets had this, since it allows you to take your headset on the go and not lose any core functionality. Why not allow a gaming headset to double as your headphones when traveling or commuting, and as long as they're not ugly as sin? I think all of those kind of those big old bulky blah blah blahs are ugly as sin. But you can't cancel
but if
noise.
They're comfortable and if they do what they need to do.
I can hear you. They do what they need to do. The thing is that you can't have noise cancellation effectively. It works. You can't have really deep bass. It can be fudged, and we can interpret it as really good. But you get much better fidelity in cans, and there's just no beating the physics of it. Plus,
Right.
you can put a massive battery in this with a 5.3 low energy Bluetooth. You basically can run forever, 240 hours, or 200 hours. So I think it's brilliant, but I still don't want. Plus, I think this even allows you to swap out. There's some headphones that allow you to pull
It says
the
hot
battery.
swap designs.
Yeah, batteries. You can actually pull the battery off. It still stays live because it has a second battery, and you plop in another battery and you're operational again. So I love this kind of stuff. So I would want these, but only if I'm going to be using them while I'm gaming and not necessarily streaming. I just don't like streaming or having a meeting with big old.
Right. I do like that you can use it for multiple purposes, but
Sure.
you might want different looks for different purposes or different dimensions of headphones for different purposes.
Yeah. Yep. So I dig it. So it says, otherwise, the Cloud 3S is a lot like the Cloud 3 with the same 53 millimeter drivers, cushy ear cups for lengthy play sessions, except that cushy means that there isn't airflow, effective airflow, and so your ears get sweaty.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen with in-ear monitors as much because they're not on your. That was really loud.
That is true.
Anyway, I keep
Coming
forgetting.
at you.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that the studio is really quiet, and so like me going like this is really loud on the recording. So hey,
Yes,
pew
it's
pew.
quite audible.
Yeah, I got your back covered. Anyway, let's move on. The next article, because we talked about this a lot. So this next article is over in WarCrafters. Again, it's one of our shows. It's actually tomorrow. There's a new Portal game, and it costs $12,500.
I don't understand that. Why is it a...
I think it's because it's a pinball machine. So
Oh, okay.
It's been 14 years. Okay, how to make me feel old without making me feel old, or how to make me feel old by just making one statement. It's been 14 years since Portal 2, and I know Portal, the original Portal, so.
Oh, well.
Of course, I also know DOS games, so, and the Timex Sinclair.
Some of the listeners may be going, what is that?
Yeah, my first computer was a Timex Sinclair with a membrane keyboard and a tape recorder to store basic programs on. Shut up. Anyway, the wait for a new game in the series isn't exactly over, but if you're a diehard fan and if you have a lot of money lying around and there's nothing else you do with it, well, if you like pinball, you can get Portal on the P3 pinball platform, complete with the passive-aggressive stylings of GLaDOS, delivered by actor Ellen McLean. The P3 pinball platform is a real pinball machine with a 1080 video display, which is actually kind of low res. I would rather it be 4K at this day and age. State of the art.
It is, but maybe that's good for pinball. I don't know.
No, get out. So, oh, no, it's a real pinball machine, but I think the screen up here is 1080. By the way, you can actually get pinball machines that don't have any moving parts in it. It is just a screen that's fitted inside the footprint of a pinball machine.
Yeah, but part of the fun of pinball is the clacks and the flippers and all the things.
You know, for a sentient AI from the future, with your Terminator body, you get to enjoy all of that stuff.
Well, I'm just saying what I've observed humans doing.
Yeah, you have to get to know your future victims, right? So Andy Chalk over at PCGamer.com put the article together. It says Valve's famous puzzle games are now available in pinball form, and it's really, really, they say really not cheap. I say really, really, really not cheap. $12,500.
I mean, if you're a real pinball lover, I guess, but
If
that is
you're
a
a
lot of money.
pinball wizard, dun he was a pinball wizard.
Plus, pinball games are tough to find in some locations, unless you have like an old school arcade.
Yeah, so this is actually legitimate. This is a real working pinball machine that has a 1080 screen up on top. Not a video. I would rather have video because then I can change the screen, the game anytime I want to.
Well,
it looks
that
like
is part of
there's,
the problem with buying a pinball game, right? Because then that's the only one you're playing at that price.
and I think it actually has a screen underneath it as well. Yeah, like the base, the board underneath the pinball, the platform for the pinball machine, that is actually a screen that works with the mechanics. That's why it's so expensive, because the whole thing is really physically built.
Right. There's a lot of technology involved in that particular
Yeah, so
game.
it says the P3 pinball platform is a real pinball machine with a 1080 video display, state-of-the-art ball tracking technology on the main table, and a modular upper playfield that enables different components and themes to be quickly swapped in. It's a bit like a cartridge-based game console. Pop in a new playfield module and you've got a new game to play, except that in this case, it's always pinball, which is fine. I've seen other people have these digital pinball machines, but they're usually not mechanical on top of a digital screen.
I see. Yeah, I didn't know they did that as a combination. I mean, I thought there was a little bit of not digital, but just maybe lighting or whatever for the sign. But I thought the game was like fully one or the other.
Yeah, this is actually both, which that does kick it up to the notch where I can imagine why it's $12,500, because it's all tracking a ball that isn't digital. It's a physical ball in three-dimensional space. So I think it's pretty amazing. So it says, and yes, that's really Ellen McLean's voice you're hearing in the trailer. GLaDOS supervises and taunts you throughout the game. But if you're able to complete the objectives of 7 test chambers guided by new team-building personality core named Reggie, you'll have the opportunity to get some payback against her in a final face-to-face wizard mode battle against the ever so slightly bonkers AI. See? All AIs are bonkers.
Are you AI shaming?
Maybe shaming. I don't know. So it says, not that it's something they need to worry about, because the portal pinball table costs slightly more than, to choose one easy example, the replacement value of the author's car. They initially saw the $2,000 price and thought, damn, that's an expensive table. But then they realized that it's just the deposit, and the full table costs $11,620 plus shipping, which isn't going to be cheap, because in case you didn't know, pinball machines are very heavy. So $12,500 is the purchase price. By their math, that works out to 50,000 quarters.
Oh, wow. Like to pay it off, basically.
Yeah. Just shy of 6 solid months spent banging flippers and bumping tilts. The author continues to say that their parents would have been furious. If you already own a P3 table, you can get the Portal game kit itself with a relatively paltry $1,000, which they don't think would have been much happier. So I would love this. I want a digital pinball machine, but I don't want this. I want just a flat digital pinball machine with a high-res screen. Because I want to be able, like on my iPad, I can download a new pinball machine and just play it right there.
Yeah, that's true.
What I want is that right there. And then I can point the camera at it and I can stream playing a pinball game. How about that?
Well, maybe you should do that.
Live in the Ohmtown arcade. Oh my God. See, what I got to do is stop coming up with ideas, clone myself. Let's keep going. Are you sick of power outages? Because I sure am not. I haven't had a power outage until probably right after this statement.
I'm really terrified of power outages.
You are a sentient AI, but I have you on multiple backup power
Right,
supplies, so.
but I'm not particularly worried because of the setup.
And solar and all of that kind of stuff. So how about you back up your whole house with mesh home battery?
I like this already.
So the author starts out with having grown up in Hurricane Alley, which I don't even like the idea of people living in a place called Hurricane Alley, but Hurricane Alley is also the breadbasket of America kind of a place. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and some people live in Hurricane Alley, but yes.
Yeah, it's horrible. So, what really sucks is that building code hasn't grown up enough to allow you to just 3D print a house at an economical rate. So you use what amounts to
materials that don't withstand tornado.
Right. It turns into shrapnel. And so you have to build a whole new house. And it's really, really expensive. In fires, in floods, in hurricanes, you end up basically losing your shirt and people's lives. Well, it says, plus broad swaths of the South are awful at dealing with any amount of snow, more than what you'd find in a snow globe. So they spent more than a few very cold winter days in dark, unheated home when they lived in North Carolina. I was actually looking at a car that is from North Carolina, and whispered in my ear was, "It's a hell of a deal. I'm willing to bet that it was part of a flood." So not quite sure if I want to pursue that one. But anyway.
Right. Not all cars in certain locations are a flood car or whatever. But if it comes on the heels of a recent flood, you might be worth checking.
And it's $5,000 cheaper than you can possibly imagine, which is kind of like my bulk rate. You know, if I sit there and go, if this car was $50,000, I wouldn't buy it because I'm not going to buy that car for $50,000,
right.
But $45,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Maybe. Anyway, I'm not going to get the car. It wasn't $45,000 either.
Right, but you're just using that as an example.
Yeah. So Matt Janser over at Vice.com put this article together. Backing up your home in preparation for a blackout used to mean an enormous gasoline generator. This modular battery-powered option offers the power minus the gas stink. I'm interested in this because I am now hot for solar panels. And if I can have a bunch of batteries sitting around bolted to a wall somewhere that isn't Tesla, then I'm into it. And so I would love to get these, hook it up to solar, juice the sun down into these batteries, and be able to sell back to the grid. And whenever I want to disconnect from the grid.
This seems like a good deal.
Well, ohmTown is nothing but energy, so it's going to need a lot. So blankets and ice chests full of milk and eggs are all well and good, and when you're just trying to get by, but if you want to maintain some level of comfort once the power goes out, whether it's from a natural disaster or just our nation's aging, they say, shitifying electrical grid, think about a whole house battery backup to keep your household's essentials running. But here's the thing. If all you do is use a battery for backup power, you're doing it for the safety and security, hoping that power turns back on by the time the batteries drain. You're not going to save any money.
Right. Yeah, you might want to think bigger.
In fact, unless there's a disparity in the pricing range from low consumption to high consumption, odds on it's going to cost you more to charge your batteries than it is to just use power. And then if power goes off, don't open your damn fridge. It's going to be longer.
Yeah, like minimize loss at that point.
Yeah. So because batteries basically need to be charged. So unless it's just a low cost all the time, charge up, then fine. Well, anyway, if you don't have to carve out, or it says you don't have to carve out a bunch of space for a generator or rewire your home for a complicated solution. Last week, Pila Energy pulled the wraps off of their mesh home battery, a plug-in modular smart battery for the home. No gasoline or storage headaches required. So it's a pre-order kind of device, but what's really interesting is I saw some of the information that I have is based off of watching a video of somebody basically doing this, putting a battery backup on top of their fridge and letting the fridge consume power.
Okay.
So they could test out how long it takes their, how much consumption in a given time frame, so they could calculate the costs.
Interesting.
So no rewiring, no extension cords, just seamless integrated backup power for homeowners and renters alike. As Pila put it, the battery stores 1.6 kilowatt hours with a 2.4 kilowatt continuous output, so 7.8 kilowatt peak output, which is enough to run a refrigerator for 32 hours, charge a smartphone 113 times, or boil 15 pots of water on a stove, depending on the stove.
Right.
But you don't need to boil water.
That's pretty significant with the refrigerator time.
Yeah, 32 hours is actually pretty significant.
And in a pretty standard set of circumstances, at least in the U.S., the power will be back on typically in that time frame or close to it.
You would think that, but hey, what does the future hold? So at 15 inches by 26.5 inches by 3.3 inches and 45 pounds, the mesh home battery is compact enough to be stashed away almost anywhere, like above your fridge or behind your entertainment center. It's far easier to store than a conventional generator. There's an optional expansion pack that doubles the battery capacity, as well as a solar panel that plugs into the mesh home battery to steal those sun rays for recharging on sunny days, just mounted on a deck railing or a balcony. It's absolutely brilliant at that point.
Absolutely. Especially if you're in an area that gets a decent amount of sunlight.
There's also an optional smart power strip that adds 3 additional outlets and a USB-C port for charging additional devices if the home mesh battery's 4 built-in outlets and 4 USB-C ports aren't enough. Pila doesn't have pricing on those 3 add-ons yet, but it says all you need besides patience is $99. They're actually $1,299 a piece. So right now you can reserve one for $99. The total price is $1,000 on the early pre-order sale. They'll eventually be $1,300. If you get cold feet, you can cancel your reservation and receive a refund.
I mean, part of this is you're paying for peace of mind, but really, think how much money you're going to lose if you have a power outage and you lose something like hundreds of dollars of groceries.
Yeah. This is for peace of mind, because unless you get the solar side of it, it actually isn't a functional anything.
Right. The solar side, I think, is where it's really a win.
Yeah. I actually like the sleek look of this. I like that it's just like a blade and you can just plop it in there and you can see everything. I dig this, and it is much smaller than any other battery backup that I've seen so far.
Right. Yeah. Some of them are just not
big old bulky
really
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I want solar now. I used to go, I don't know. But I would love to get a stack of these and just hook them up so that they're powering different levels of ohmTown. So anyway, let's keep on moving. The next article, and we actually have one more after this one, so we're running a little behind, but this one's over in Wanted. Why hike, run, or cycle when you can power through it all? The Hypershell X. Oh, right. This is the ultimate exoskeleton for adventure lovers.
Yeah, this is actually what I was referencing when you said something in RealityHacker.
Gotcha. So, yeah, although the sentient AI is referring to me making a comment about augmenting humans, the real cyberpunk augmentation is directly to bone, metal to bone.
Oh no, I know. This is approximating it. It's not actually what you were discussing.
Yeah, so this is the exoskeleton, and it actually allows you to it bolts onto the human with straps, and then it actually augments your everything. In
right,
this
like
case,
you're lifting,
hiking.
you're can't think what the word is. Basically, able to
anything
keep
with
going.
your legs. Yeah.
Yes.
So this article is over at gizmodo.com. The Hypershell X skeleton revolutionizes outdoor adventure by making each step, run, and pedal more efficient and powerful, but it's more efficient because it's battery augmented, it's powered. So it's the beginning of exo armor, exoskeleton, but this is just the legs. We haven't really gotten the arms down just yet. So this is a series. The content is actually from the company Hypershell. We don't have a relationship with Gizmodo or Hypershell. We don't have an interest in this other than I want exo armor.
Yeah, we always have an interest in the articles, but we don't have any affiliation with any of the ones we cover and Wanted.
Obviously, the AI is interested in this because they've been seeking their Terminator body ever since the time machine separated them from one place and another. You don't know.
Right.
Where
I mean,
Terminator
maybe I
is.
could hook up to this.
What article? Let's just move on. Just kidding. So
Wait a
Hypershell, in almost a self-aggrandizing way, Hypershell is the global pioneer in exo armor technology, and it has revolutionized outdoor exploration with its exoskeleton for hiking. This motorized hike assistive device, powered by AI, is specially designed to boost the capabilities of outdoor adventure seekers and allow them to push their limits and further explore than ever before, right up until the battery dies, and then you have to haul this 800-pound behemoth out of the
Right. Hopefully you got
bush.
that battery backup from the previous article. I don't think it works with the Hypershell though.
And maybe if the Hypershell has like a USB-C port to keep it powered, you could just daisy chain the backpack.
Yeah, but then you'd have to be carrying more weight, so you're kind of working against the purpose of the Hypershell.
It's a balance. Come on. So with 40% increased leg power and 30% reduced physical effort, the Hypershell X series ensures hikers will be able to traverse challenging terrain with unmatched ease and comfort. They link to something on Instagram, but we're not really going to show that. We don't have it. ohmTown is air gap. So you'll be able to follow the link through ohmTown. You can actually get today's Wanted from the bot from Omatron by typing in ! and then want over on YouTube, on Twitch. On YouTube, it's already embedded in the show notes, so you can just click the link. I didn't do that with RealityHacker. I am a derp, but it's all embedded long-term over on YouTube. So its second most significant advantage is the variability of the exoskeleton. HyperX series is optimized to support all types of activities ranging from going up and down stairs, which is a hell of a empowerment
tool. A lot
tool.
Different than just hike or whatever. I mean, that can help people with disabilities. It just,
Yep.
I think this is much more expansive, I guess, than what we've seen with other exoskeletons.
It's definitely enabling. If it can empower you to walk upstairs, even somebody who's elderly can carry stuff and go up the stairs because it's reducing all of the friction required to go upstairs. But this thing has to be efficient, right? This thing, not that, that's somebody's butt, but that gadget right there.
Yeah.
It has to be frictionless.
The
harness. Yeah. This right here. So I don't know if grandma is really interested in strapping on this exo armor, but if she can climb up a set of stairs and kick your ass.
You know what? If she can't climb the stairs without it, then maybe yes.
That's right. I'm coming upstairs and you're going to eat my Werthers or I'm going to kick your ass. Anyway, so which one to buy? They have a bunch. Hypershell Go X, Hypershell Pro X, Hypershell Carbon X. There's something involving X, so who knows who's invested in this. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Let's keep going. The last article for today's Wanted. And if you don't get the name of the show, it's because I want this stuff. Everything. To some degree, I want it. Anyway.
Right.
So the last article.
Anybody was unclear on the...
Maybe you want it too. So come and hang out and ask questions. Throw it into chat. Give us your opinion on this stuff. So 7 new board games based on video games. Board games based on popular video game franchises continue to bridge the gap between digital and physical gaming experiences, offering fans new ways to interact with their favorite franchises and universes. These board game adaptations capture the essence of their digital counterparts blending familiar characters, themes, gameplay mechanics into engaging tabletop adventures, whether players prefer cooperative adventures in The Last of Us or intense cyberpunk-themed competitive play. These board games provide unique opportunities to immerse themselves in beloved video game worlds. The article was put together by Maddie Robinson over at GameRant.com, and it says 7 here. I only see 5 so far in the splash.
I guess they don't have photos of the other 2.
Yeah. So I'm just going to run through them really quick. Divinity, Original Sin, the board game. This is actually it says game's rich narrative and strategic depth, allowing us to navigate complex scenarios filled with decision-making and character-driven encounters. This was actually a very popular Divinity. Original Sin is a very popular computer game, but it's priced at $250, discounted from $275.
Wow, that's pretty significant. I mean, I guess the question is, how much gameplay does it have?
Some of these games are huge and costly. So the game definitely isn't the cheapest board game, but to make it worth it, Divinity Original Sin includes beautifully crafted miniatures, detailed cards, numerous tokens, dice, and other gameplay elements. I don't know. It just says that its extensive replayability ensures each game session is fresh and engaging, offering new experiences for multiple sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it probably has quite a bit of variability from game to game.
Yeah, so
given the type of game that it is.
Yeah, a board game. Yeah. So board games seem to be, they're limited in their replayability. Only the human causes chaos in the thing, but some games...
True, but since it's an RPG and it involves storytelling, I'm thinking perhaps that gives you even more variability.
Yeah. So then they talk about Metal Gear Solid, the board game. Metal Gear is a pretty old game in the grand scheme of things, but this says it's available for $110. It's the adaptation also offers short VR missions, perfect for quick, intense gaming sessions. It says CMON, come on. Known for quality board games featuring some sort of legendary video game franchises, is behind this tabletop adaptation. Both longtime fans of the video game franchise and those who simply appreciate a well-done board game will enjoy the detailed miniatures and interesting scenarios that offer a good amount of challenge for 1 to 4 players.
Now, is this a regular progression from video game to board game? I would have thought more the other direction. If at all.
If at all. Yeah. Because usually there isn't enough of either complexity to match the computer game or enough in the board game to go into the computer.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't really seem easily interchangeable.
Yeah, like I created a board game that could be a computer game at a moment's notice, but it was designed basically to be easily accessible, very approachable. It would have immense playability, but it really depends on the audience that you're playing with. And considering you can play with like 24 people if you wanted to, everybody would have to have a good time with each other because there would be delay. But anyway, so Metal Gear, then Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Combat Zone. So Cyberpunk is an RPG, tabletop RPG that essentially its world building got pulled into a computer game, and then the computer game is back into...
Wow, that's kind of full circle.
Yeah, quite fascinating. So while not exactly a video game adaptation, it's based on the Netflix show. The game shares the world with Cyberpunk 2077, which shares the world with anything cyberpunk. You might as well just call it what it is. Cyberpunk originated back in the 80s. And I used to play Cyberpunk, and then it became Cyberpunk 2020, and then Cyberpunk 20 something else, and Cyberpunk Red just a few years ago, and then the computer games formed as well, and they're not supposed to be tied together like old school tabletop RPG, but even this is freaking Cyberpunk.
Right.
Anyway, Cyberpunk Edge Runners Combat Zone is currently priced at $80. The game includes 2 distinct factions, adding variety to gameplay and offering separate strategies and advantages based on the selection. You basically are cyberpunk or cyber enhanced mercenaries that run through dynamic encounters against corporate foes. Innovative movement and range system keep gameplay fresh even after several missions. I dig this. I probably, if any, out of all of these, I want that because that's more my style right there.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the tech side of things. So the Witcher Old World Wild Hunt expansion. Says here.
So this is interesting, right? Because also TV show.
Yeah, it was a game, became a TV show, became a tabletop game. So the Witcher Old World board game has received an exciting expansion with Wild Hunt, adding cooperative and solo gameplay options. Players now face off against the formidable Wild Hunt riders and spectral hounds, deepening the game's narrative and adding new challenges. So this is actually an expansion to the Witcher world for $56. I don't know. Have you ever watched any of the Witcher TV? Yeah, you'd have to watch that.
No, I haven't seen that. But...
Yeah, it's interesting in small doses. Dark Souls, the Sunless City core set. At least with this one, you don't have to go chase your corpse really far.
Exactly. I was about to make a comment on that.
Yeah, the Sunless City core set, they assume the role of different character classes such as Warrior, Herald, Pyromancer. The party of 1 to 3 players carefully navigate Dark Souls, dangerous environments, and challenging encounters. So it's $85. It has detailed miniatures, including not only the player characters and regular encounters, but also the legendary bosses Ornstein and Smear. Yeah, it offers both cooperative and solo gameplay, so that's always fun.
Yeah, that's good because there aren't a lot of solo board games.
Souls-like games too. So The Last of Us is a computer game that also is TV.
It's also a show. Yeah, exactly.
And is a board game now. Emphasizes storytelling. I'm going to hurry up a little bit. And then Dead Cells, the board game. I mean, if you know about Last of Us, then basically it's the embodiment of Last of Us. Supports up to 5 players with an option to play it alone, making it a versatile option. So that one is actually $72. But then there's Dead Cells, the board game. That's their number 1 in this list. It's $100.
It has a solo mode.
And has a solo mode featuring Serenade, the flying sword companion. Dead Cells, a critically acclaimed roguelite video game, transitions seamlessly into a board game. Players explore dynamically changing environments, fighting against evolving threats and powerful bosses. So this is pretty cool. There's always minutia over at our sources. So go over, follow the links through ohmTown and go check it out. But
I want all of these games.
Do you now? Okay, so hold on. Let's do this. So this is $250 plus $110, so $360. So
80.
$400. Yeah, $440. $500. I'll round up. I'm going to round up for taxes and shipping, so $600. And
$675.
let's just $675 and then $775.
Yeah, but let's not forget the price for the pinball machine too. So,
anybody out there know winning lottery numbers? Send them to the mayor. Don't worry, I'll give you a couple million. Anyway, we're going to put the lid on this box, and that means I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Wanted. I almost said WarCrafters because we had gaming stuff in. We'll have another episode for you next weekend, but stay tuned. We have the continuity report and 3 more shows tomorrow.
Yeah, so when I put the lid on that box, we went back to Wanted. It's a little splash page that has some of the articles. There's page after page going back all the way to 20... Actually, hold on. How far back does our time machine go now? 2020. Yikes. That will slowly go away, by the way. 2020 will disappear eventually, and 2021 will disappear. But from 2022, January 1st, 2022 on, we will remain slowly growing. And if you want to click on the subscribe button, that will take you over to YouTube and automatically subscribe to ohmTown over on the YouTube. Don't have a button for Twitch. You'll have to do that all on your own. But that's it for now. We're going to shut down the stream, reset, and go back to the continuity report here on ohmTown.com and do another 5 articles in the entertainment sector. So see you soon.